Alright, so today's video is going to be on putting a Mustang rim on Grand Marquis, Crown Victoria. One of the same, but today we're putting it on a Grand Marquis, an '03. We scored these rims for $200. Everything is extremely overpriced because everybody's posting on Facebook Marketplace their rims, their factory rims, are $600, $800, and $900 a pair. And what they're not taking into account is everybody's selling rims, but hardly nobody's looking for rims. At least not vehicle specific factory rims. So, after a guy had these Mustang rims on there for 9 weeks, he just so happened to have them reduced down to 200 or 240, and I knocked them down to 200 when I picked them up yesterday. So, that's probably a smart thing to do, otherwise you'll be taking these rims to the junkyard for scrap. Most people on Facebook Marketplace are going to figure that out soon enough. But anyway, these rims, just for reference, at the junkyard, they're, I think, $27 to $37 a piece for aluminum alloy, these. And that's what they sell for, no matter what the size, no matter how pretty they are. Well, unfortunately, we couldn't find any rims that had all four and weren't banged up, because people scour the junkyards and they take them to do something else with. I don't know how they resell them or what they do, but I still can't see paying more than $200 for factory rims. And no matter what they belong to, you know, they could be, you know, Cadillac rims, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so we chose these rims because they are not too bad looking. And what are they? They're 17 by 7. These are V6 Mustang rims, 2011. So they came on the 2011 Mustang V6, and they're 17 inches tall by 7 inches wide, and the offset in the rear is 40 millimeter. Now, the offset on our 16-inch rims that are on our '03 Grand Marquis are steel wheels, our COP wheels, or P71 wheels with the hubcaps is what we have. Those rims are 16 by 7, I believe, and they have a 53 millimeter offset in the rear and behind them. So what does that mean, offset? So not a lot of people are explaining that. So the less offset you have, the more the rim pokes out of the car, right? So I have this is a 40 millimeter offset. The factory wheels are 53, so they're going to go in the vehicle a little bit more, the factory wheels. So these are going to stick out a little bit more, about an inch, maybe an inch or so, maybe somewhere around that, maybe less. Whatever the difference of 40 and 53 millimeters are, and you can do the math on that yourself, but that is the general concept here. So what are these going to look like on the car? I don't know. I got to go pick up some tires for them. We're going to find out. I got a good idea that they're going to look pretty good. They're going to look not too fancy to attract traffic stops, but they're not going to look too grandma either. So they're not going to be your, you know, grandpa and grandma grocery getter, but they're not going to exactly be your hot rod and high performance punk kid that gets profiled by law enforcement. So they're going to fall somewhere in the middle, and that's what I'm shooting for, and that's why I chose this. Kind of a little bit on the racy side, but you know, not really sure if the car came with these kind of rims or not, that kind of deal. So it's going to almost look factory, but you're not sure. And that's my guess is what they're going to look like. I could be totally wrong when we put them on the car. But I can show you, again, even though y'all seen it in all my videos, what the new, I should say old, $500 Grand Marquis looks like. That, right? So that's our rims now. That's our GS, or whatever they call it, stripped down model hubcap, with missing a center cap, of course. I got the car like that. I'm sure if I got center caps, they'd be missing again. So we're going to get rid of those flashy chrome, intestinal looking spike, virus looking rim, and we're going to put on some, you know, mag looking rim, and we'll see what they look like. We got the wheel off the car. We made sure that the wheel fit. We tried it on. Took it off. We made sure that we had the right hub diameter. That's what we were interested in, to make sure that the Mustang has the same hub diameter, which is this right here, and it does. It fit perfect. So it's kind of hub centric, meaning that the hub hugs the rim hugs the hub, and that's what we wanted for for being stable. We don't really want to use any spacers on this, not for the way that I drive, and I like safety, so we're going to do that. We're going to make sure that we made sure that that was fine, and it is. And then next we looked at the lugs to see what kind of lugs we needed with this. It looks like we're going to use regular acorn lugs because that's what the Mustang used, and it looks like it doesn't need those special lug nuts that slide inside the rim, which are generally aftermarket type lugs that hold the aluminum a little bit better. But in this case, the aluminum's thin right there, and you can see that it's an acorn shape or a tapered shape. And that tapered shape is what we're going to chase after. We're going to get a lug nut that's pretty short, that's enclosed in chrome, and it should look good on there. And that's what we're going to buy. I'm going to buy a set of lugs like that, and probably locking lugs, because no telling where I'll park the car, right? It's a $500 car, but I don't want the $500 with the $200 rims and the $100 tire to leave me stranded because somebody decided to rip me off. So let's see here. Alright, sensors, right? So the 11 Mustang came with sensors. All vehicles after 2007 came with these because the factory is kind of mandatory. And they say that it's a federal law, you have to have these, but it's not true for the owner. The owner doesn't, there's states that don't require these. They don't require doing an inspection or anything. And there's a whole list of states that don't require these, including my state. But it's up to you to look up your state. Okay, some states still may require these. I don't even think New York requires these, which is crazy. I'm sure California probably does. Maybe they don't. So we're taking our sensors off. We don't need them. Then we're going to just leave the little brass valve sticking out. And I'm not going to replace the valve stems. I could with traditional valve stems, but our press tag is already climbing on this changeout because we're going to go get some Goodyear tires, cheap Goodyear tires from Walmart. And I have 3 different sizes, or 2 different sizes for the 17-inch rim picked out. 2 different sizes. One of them is a little bit bigger than 27 inches tall, and that is too big for my speedometer. My Grand Marquis is programmed for 16-inch rims and 27-inch in diameter, 27.1, 27.1 underneath 27 and a quarter. And I find if you don't jump up more than a quarter inch on a tire, it really doesn't affect the speedo that much, especially if you're, looking for that 1 mile per hour or that half mile per hour mark. So I say if you keep it under a quarter inch in tire, or at least under a half inch, which is probably more realistic, keep the tire size within a half-inch diameter of each other. So there are some tires that are wider, and I'm going to look at them. Those are the 235 55 17. Those should be equivalent in height to my 215 65 or 16, which is what's required for my car. So that's what's on the steel wheels right now, the old cop rims. So on these, I'm going to put the same height tire. They're just going to be wider as far as the section width. So the tire is going to be like 9-point-something inches wide versus 8-point-something inches wide. So the new tires for these new rims, or new used rims, as I'm updating from 16 to 17, is going to be an inch wider, because you have to look at the section width and how wide that is. And so the tread width, the section width is a little bit different than the tread width, but I go by the section width. So the section width is about an inch wider. So that's what we're getting. And we're going to go with a regular highway tire as opposed to a W. A W I think is good for 160 something miles an hour. A highway tire is good to 120, something like that. And I'm good with, or 129 miles an hour. I'm good with that because I don't think I'm going to be keeping up with anybody at that speed. Not with a car that's got 200,000+ miles on it. Anyway, we're going to take this last sensor off, and then we'll be good. And then we're going to go to the store and go hunt some tires. And I'm looking, I already looked online. I got an idea what I'm supposed to pay, or what I'm going to pay right now, what the market is. And for Goodyear cheap Walmart tires, they're going to be about $102 a piece where I am here. So we'll see. Alright, we'll get back when we get our tires, and you'll get an idea what they look like on a car, and we'll do a comparison before and after. And what we might do is actually measure the backspace and what it looks like how much it's going to make a difference between that 40 and 53 millimeter back spacing. All right. Oh, let's see. I forgot. The lug size, right? So what lug size do you get? There's all these aftermarket lugs you can go after and get. These are the factory lugs. I'm obviously not going to put these on those silver rims. So, what size are we looking for? Well, we already know that Ford's lug nuts for these are what they call half by 20. So it's half dash 20. That's what you're looking for thread size, right? So that's what they call these threads right here, half by 20. And so we know to buy a lug nut that's half by 20, that is acorn shaped, like this. Somebody over tightened that, some factory, some garage over tightened the hell out of that lug nut. Jeez. Anyway, so we know half by 20, and we know that we want a lug nut that will encase the stud. This is the stud, so we know we want it to go down, we want it to encase the stud, and we want it to cover the back side of the stud. See, these lug nuts do not. They allow the stud to stick through the center of it, and that really just isn't pleasing to the eye when you have a silver or decorative rim like we're going to put on here. Now, we don't have center caps to cover this up, so we're going to buy some chrome decorative lugs that have that bevel and a back to cover this, a cap. So we know to look for that. And these are at least, we probably want something that's at least 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches long, so that it can cover this stud. We don't want this to back out and bottom out onto the end of this. So we know we're looking for that when we get there. All right. Looks like when you walk out with a buggy full of tires. By the way, here's a little tip for you. The people at Walmart were saying, hey, we got to get a name, phone number, and an address for these tires. And there's no carb entered into the computer. So I told them, you're not going to do any of that. You're going to sell them to me straight up. And that's what they did. And then they said, all right, well, let's just do a first name. And I'm like, okay, autonomy. So here we are. 4 tires, $444. All right, we got 3 in there. We're going to put 1 in the back seat. That'll work. All right, we're back. I wanted to look at the tires to make sure that they're what their height is here. I mean, they sure do have a sidewall, boy. Look at that huge sidewall extending out, right? And here's your regular tire. This is a BF Goodwrench, or can't tell. Yeah, it is. And this has only got 30 pounds of air in it, so this is what we're dealing with a new tire. It's not bad. Don't get those dirty yet. If by chance we have to get a smaller tire, we can. You know what I mean? Because we didn't mount them or even get them dirty. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this here. I want to make sure that the 235/55 R17 is what we really want. Not to make sure that they're too tall. Now they give plenty of online descriptions about their height, but there's nothing like gauging the height except for when you're in person. Nothing can compare to that of being in person to do it. So here we are in person, and we're going to do it. So let's see these. Would I put these on there and run them? Yeah. I mean, they're not too tall. That's for sure. At first glance, they're not too tall. But we need to take a tape measure and measure the side of the tire here. We need to go straight through and then measure right here, straight across. Sideways, not this way, because there's weight on the tire and it's bellying, so that's not the way to measure a tire. Alright, these are about 27 inches. I think we measured that here. Now look, I have to align this by eye and then center this. So this is what I think is level, right about there. If you get down the line of sight of it, you can tell. And then pull it out here. Not quite, okay. Oh, right there. Okay. You look right here. We're looking at like what, 26 and...
Right at 27 almost.
Almost. 26 and 3/4. 27. Right? That's what we're dealing with. That's this tire before it has air in it. So it's gonna increase ½ inch or so when you put air in it. ½ inch roundabouts, unless the tire's smushed in some way, and it's got most of its roundness, so it's not boxy. So it should inflate about a ½ an inch or so. So we're looking at 27 and a 16th, 27 and a quarter at the most, 27 and an eighth. And here we are lined up with the wheel. When this tire is worn out, believe me, this is a pretty worn out tire. I think this is the one that has a small egg in it, or at least maybe a flat spot, because it is wobbling when I'm slower in speed. I can feel something shaking the car a little bit. Look, see that 27? It kind of line of sights with the center of the tire as it bows out in the middle here. So those tires are right about the same size as these, even though they're new and they look bigger compared to the BF Goodwrench on the passenger side. I think they're keepers. I think we're going to keep them because I think the 225/60 is bigger. 225/60/17. I think it's taller. I know it's skinnier, but I think it's taller than this. And in fact, if the internet is correct and Summit Racing is correct, because you can go and look on Summit Racing for like a cheat sheet and look at all the tires and then scroll down to section width and tread width and all that, and also diameter of tire, and most of the time the information that they have is correct. And if you look at it, you'll see that these tires are right at 27 inches, and they're about a tiny bit over, fraction. And you'll see that the other tires that are 225/60/17 are right at 7 1/4, roundabout, 0.2 something like that. So if you look at the factory wheels that are on this car, which is the younger years, the earlier years, and because this is an 03, it doesn't get a 17-inch rim, from the factory. 17-inch rims came a little later, standard. I had to look to like an 09 or 2011 to get like a 17-inch rim. And I know they put them on earlier in other different kinds of cars and stuff, and they may even have done these cars, I don't know, special applications. But for this year, generally, all they had was 16-inch rims that I can find available for this. And because of that, I have to use the tire size as reference. And so, when you do the AI on Google and you do all of that, you'll see that they got some information that's pulled probably from Summit's website and other websites out there that show that these stock tires are about 27 inches tall. So what does the Grand Marquis get? 27 inches. Now, they offer these other two different size tires probably for the Crown Vic, probably for P71 and non-P71. The P71 probably gets these wide tires. Well, this car is about to get some P71 tires, I guess. Some cop car tires. But not as good because these are so sidewall flimsy. I mean, this is evil corporation Walmart. What do you expect to be able to pick it up right then and there like I did? But if you want to order these from the internet, you can order tires all day long. From Tire Rack and what's the other
Simple
one?
Tire.
Simple Tire, Tire Condom, anyone you can come up with. Goofy tire companies. I'm just making shit up now, but they have tire companies everywhere. Next is to mount one. I guess everybody's waiting for that, and I'm waiting for it. So let's mount one, put it on a Mustang V6 rim, put it on the car, and see what it looks like. I mean, we'll mount it first, see what it looks like. Once we mount it, these tires are ours. We can't return them. So that's what the delay is here. All right. Looks like we're gonna do a hand mounting. We mount it ourselves. I don't feel like paying for Walmart's balance because you know what? Their balance isn't really that good anyway, I find. Kind of a gimmick, honestly, for a tire this small. I mean in diameter. Bigger the tire is in diameter, the more it's prone to be out of balance. And when it's out of balance and you got like a commercial machine, they just do it all day long. Commercially, they have, balancing machines over there. You get one weight off, the first one, and then they're constantly struggling to put more weights on the rim, and then pretty soon the rim's all dressed up with ugly weights, and it doesn't even help the vibration that much. At least I've found that over the years. Believe it or not, I've run a lot of vehicles with no weights at all, and they're doing just fine. I know a lot of other people that do the same thing, but nobody really talks about it. Now, obviously, if I'm going to do any racing, I'm going to be doing high-speed sports car kind of stuff, I'm going to take my car to a racing shop that takes the time to take the commercialization out of balancing my tire. Meaning, I'm not going to get the one-size-fits-all dummy balance. So, if I wanted to pay for that, then yes, that's what I'll do. But in the meantime, no. So, rest of this, we're going to put this on, and we'll come back. I'm going to get the cameraman to help me hold this down. Alright, that's about a minute later, literally. These are the easiest tires I've ever mounted, at least these tires on these rims. I'm guessing it's the tire. It's got a soft sidewall. A lot of people on Reddit complain. They claim to be professionals on Reddit. Y'all all should know what kind of controlled site that is. I mean, you get some good answers, and then you get some jerk that actually runs the show who, you know, his opinion matters more than others. Just don't get lost in all that. I find YouTube is a much better help. The guys on YouTube and the guys on other video sites, just seeing is believing instead of all that jabbering, flapping from the gums, talking. Just seeing it happen is where I think it's at. So you can take forums like that with a grain of sand, right? So they can say these tires are bad all day long and then promote some Chinese tire. This tire is made in the USA. Maybe one's better than the other, but I'm sticking with the USA. Let's inflate this and see what's up. Alright, we'll come back. Alright. See what this looks like. Alright. This is our Mustang rim with our new tire. That's our 235 5517, and then this is next to the stock tire for this 03 Marquis. This is the 215 65 16. So let's put them side by side. Now remember this tire on this side is pretty bald. It's pretty worn down, so you can't really get an accurate description of. Let's put it real close.
It's a tiny bit taller.
Now, if I straighten them out, see, I'm on a slant on the concrete. If I straighten them out, it's about where it's supposed to be for a tire that's not worn down. See?
Yeah.
Well, this tire's really worn down. I don't. What is this? Soho or some crap?
Solus.
Is that what it says?
Solus. S-O-L-U-S.
Whatever. That Quasimodo over there. This tire was a pain. It was simple as pie to put on a rim. It was a pain in the butt to fill it up to get the bead to seal. The bead sealed perfectly, airing it up, but the bead was caught behind the rim on all of them so far. And I kept inflating it, and it wouldn't pop on the bead. And then I would deflate it and then try to oil the tire a little bit, you know, grease it with some soap and stuff, and it wasn't good enough. It just wouldn't want to pop on the rim. And so I like the fact that they're tight. The bead is really tight in the front of the rim, but it would hardly snap on. And I'm talking with 40 psi in it. It still wouldn't pop on the bead right here and right here, like two sections, like that much of it wouldn't. It kept folding under the rim. So, against the manufacturer's instructions not to inflate past 40 psi to put on the rim, and even though this tire can hold 51 psi max on the rim, we inflated it to 60 psi, and it went pop. It popped right on. And so we had to do that with 2 out of 3 so far. 40 psi done it for one other tire. It worked, but just note that if you're using this Goodyears, it might be like that on your rims. It just might be these Mustang rims. I don't know. They might really be tight here in the front. But let's see what this looks like. We'll put this on real quick. So we still don't have our damn new lugs yet. We didn't pick them out, so we're using the factory lugs for the steel wheels. And they're cone, the right amount of cone, so they're fine, but we're doing this temporarily. We got caught playing with these beads and trying not to risk blowing the tires up too much. So we're not going to have that problem anymore. Alright, yeah, spoiler right here. We're going to see, you know. Yeah. So it looks pretty good, you know. It's not
Not too blingy.
No, it's not ugly. I mean, and the rim is... I got to get used to silver painted rims. I can achieve that exact same color with Silver Matte J1G. Ford's color. I can. I just need to do that and throw a clear coat over it and I have that exact color. But painted aluminum rims I'm really not used to, you know. I guess those are powder coated maybe, you know, dried in heat and stuff. But anyway, so far it looks pretty good. Let me not spoil it too much. Let me do the front. All right, that just about concludes our video of beginning to end, what it looks like with our Mustang rims put on, our V6 Mustang rims. There's plenty of rims out there to put on these cars, and they all, most of them really do look good. Some of them are a little on the flashy side, some of them look a little too small, some of them actually look too big. Well, I could say, since I live down south, a lot of them look too big, like huge big, like they're going through a flood. But if you stay within moderation, and they're not too bad, they're not too flashy. It took a little while, an hour or so for me to get used to this. It kind of looked a little weird compared to what I know belongs on these cars. But if you didn't really, I don't know. The Marauder has 18-inch rims like this, I believe, and they're 5-spoke, and they're more solid blades, but they kind of look the same. I mean, some of the rims I've seen are kind of cast looking like this, cast aluminum, shiny, metallic, and some of the ones I saw are like, slightly chromed or polished looking. Anyway, let's recap what we did here. And these are only 17-inch rims, so that's fine with me. I split the difference. So, what did we do since we bought this car a month ago? All right, we bought this car a little over a month ago, just about, not much. So we paid $500 for the car. We drug it back with no running engine. We put an engine in it for $600. So we bought the car for $500, put an engine for $600. That is $1,100. Then what did we do after that? We're not counting transferring it and putting insurance on it. That's a given. We changed the headlights. That's $130 for the side markers and the headlights. So that's $135 plus $1,100. That's $1,235. We bought the Mustang rims for $200. That is, help me add this up, folks. What did I say that was? 12, 13, 14, 30. $1,430. We bought $400 in tires. So we're at 14. Yeah, so we're now at $1,830 for this car. Now, we didn't really do anything else to it besides, well, I take that back. Dog, we bought a door for this car. So I have a driver's side door for this car because I'm not going to start doing the body work on that crinkle at the bottom. It's a little worse than the camera shows down there. Thank goodness we got this high mileage car when we did, because the juveniles that owned it, or the young people that owned it, were starting to tear it up. So we got another door. We paid $150 or $155 for that door. So that's $1,830 plus $150, so it's $19. I don't know. That's almost $2,000. So we're right at almost $2,000 for what we have in this car. And so far it runs great. It's got a good running engine. It's got rims and tires. We have to do the brakes, all 4 pads, all 4 rotors we're going to change, and we're going to leave the calipers. Hopefully they don't stick on us. So far they haven't. And then we're going to go get some lug nuts right now, because those are not acceptable. We're going to go, actually in a few minutes, and go get them. We're going to do the lower and upper control arms that come with the ball joints and all that, so that we don't have any risky problems in the future with the front end. And we are going to get a transmission rebuild kit for this car. Whether we get another transmission or not, we're going to at least get the kit and get ready because we know this transmission has high miles on it.
You get rear shocks too, or?
I don't know yet. Rear shocks seem like they're... the car rides pretty good. I guess we'll do that in the future. Two things we're going to get that is kind of expensive, but kind of... I guess I want it. So we're going to get bumpers. Rear and a front bumper. And we're going to put dual exhaust on this car, because we can get at least 20 horsepower out of it with dual exhaust. This thing needs to be opened up. It needs to breathe. I don't know how they were able to put that little baby pipe on there for all that 4.6 liter running out the back. That's just not enough. So we can't rely on a piece of 2.5 inch pipe. I mean, 2 1/4 or whatever that is. I mean, at some spots it's probably 2 1/4. And the whole engine's trying to breathe through that one pipe. We're not doing. We're gonna open it up. I remember I had a 5.0 a square body Crown Vic, and it was in great shape. I got pictures. I'll put it online one day. And it was. I opened it up with dual exhaust, and it ran like a champ. It got better gas mileage, and it got more horsepower, like at least 20. So we're going to open this 4.6 up just with exhaust. We're not going to do anything crazy. And then in the future, we're going to be building on something really nasty to put in it. But anyway, so 2 bumpers we're going to get in the future and dual exhaust. And we're going to paint the bumpers and all with the match paint. I think this is... What color was this paint again? You remember? 2 letters or something like that. JP maybe? It's a pretty common paint color, but it looks good. It's like a silver. And it's got like some ash color mixed in it. Or wood grain color, I don't know. We're going to put a wing on the back of this thing too. We're going to put the Marauder wing, probably. That dreaded, I can't remember how much they want for that thing, like $300-400, maybe more. It's really pricey, just for that goofy wing. But we're going to put it on there because it kind of belongs on the car now with these rims, and it sets it apart from the others. I don't know. We may not put the wing. It may be optional. It's optional right now, but that's what we have to do. Oh, if you stay to the end, hey, when you take your old tires and rims off, you never know if you're going to need them again until you sell them or get rid of them. Mark the rotation and direction of them. I know there are plenty of used tire shops out there that don't mark the rotation and they sell used tires, but you know, 50% of the time, the people that bought those used tires have blowouts, because when a belt rides in a certain direction for X amount of mileage, it likes to be put back in that rotation. And like, I don't care how the tires are made today, and they say, well, they're made better today. No, it doesn't. No, it makes a big difference, because I can't tell you, almost 50 to 60% of the time, there's always a blowout with somebody I know that reversed the rotation of the tire or pretended it didn't matter. So, I don't know. It's just a little FYI. Thank y'all. So if you're still here for the video, thanks for watching, and we'll have some updates, some stuff coming for other vehicles too. We still have to do some stuff on our Econolines. We have to do some stuff on our little Isuzu, and we're looking at another vehicle right now for something else, but I'm not going to say anything yet. All right, thanks for watching.